Hey, are you ready for a little bow hunting action? If so, stick around. I've got a good one for you. And fair warning, I did say bow hunting. That means dead animals and blood. So if that bothers you, hit the back button now. So this footage was shot in Central Texas. This is actually Burnett County, near a little town called Naruna. 2019 was a very difficult hunting season. There were lots of acorns on the ground. The deer were very unpredictable. They had plenty to eat and they did not follow any kind of pattern whatsoever. So if you wanted to have a successful hunt, you really had to put in your due diligence, you really had to put in your time in the field, and you really had to get lucky. This is the early morning of December 28th, 2019, and it's still very dark. The camera that I'm using here has great low light capabilities, but in reality, it is too dark to shoot. It's almost too dark to see these animals with the naked eye. I am using some binoculars, and I can tell that one of them is a buck. I had three does in front of me, and one of them was definitely in heat. And this is a month after our typical peak of the rut, which happens usually around Thanksgiving. So one of them's in heat, and she's being chased around by a couple of bucks. The first mature buck that I see is a wide 8-point. Nothing impressive, but a mature deer, and definitely something that I'd consider shooting. Well, then all of a sudden, a very nice buck comes in, and I do start to get a little nervous, and I put my focus on him. He reminds me of last year's buck that I shot, and he's almost in the exact same spot. And from what I can see through the binoculars, he could be a twin to the incredible deer that I shot last year. So at this point, it's getting lighter by the minute, but I really need this deer to stick around another 5 minutes or so. And when there's a great buck like that standing in front of you and it's still too dark to shoot, 5 minutes is an eternity. So you can see that he's coming closer, and I'm getting very optimistic at this point. I'm thinking he may stick around. So I have my fingers crossed, and I am definitely hoping for the best. There's that wide 8-point that I first saw coming in a little bit further out. And you can also see that this larger deer is definitely the dominant buck. All he has to do is move towards that other deer, and that other guy takes off. Well, unfortunately, he did not stick around until it was light enough to shoot. But let's flash back to last year. This is the 2018 buck that I shot, and incredible deer, the biggest deer I've ever shot to date. So this incredible buck from 2018, he actually dropped right there and died right there on camera. That was one heck of a hunt. That was one heck of an experience. So here we are back in 2019 again, and you can see that it's now definitely light enough to shoot, and that wide 8-point, that first buck that came in early morning, is still hanging out. He has a new buddy. That little guy on the right is another 8-point, very young 8-point. And now I'm dealing with the dilemma of knowing that that incredible deer is out there somewhere, and he could come back, and he might not come back, and I have to make the decision of, do I wait and potentially not shoot anything at all, or do I go ahead and take this wide 8-point, who's a great deer anyway, and finally go ahead and fill the freezer this year? Well, as they say, you can't eat the horn. So, as soon as this guy gave me an opportunity within 25 yards and standing broadside, I decided to go ahead and take my shot. Well, after the appropriate wait time, probably 20, 30 minutes, I decided to get out and take a look at the arrow and also the blood to see how the blood trail looked. I did inspect the video. The video looked good, so I knew I had a dead deer down somewhere. The blood trail was not as heavy as I was expecting, so I wanted to make sure not push that deer, so I decided to back off, go look at the video on the big screen back at camp, and then come back and get my deer a little later.
Is this the scene of the crime? This is it.
Well, after looking at that video on the big screen, it was obvious that that deer had expired and probably expired shortly after he left sight there. So Robert and Jeremy decided to come help me retrieve my deer. Also brought Elle, the tracking dog, so she could get some little practice in on tracking deer. But yeah, here we go. Let's go get that deer.
He went right into these little cedars right here. Went right through here. Right through here. Is your feet are throwing corner for corner? No. No, this is one of them. So, where's your first little block? What's going on here? Yeah, there you go. There it is. Not the best deer I saw today, unfortunately. But the only one that's got a hole in him.
It's the deadest one.
That's right. Oh, big neck. He's still swelled up on his neck. Which,
Said he was running pretty hard.
yeah. Yeah, had that. Him and that other big buck, they had that doe going crazy. And she was, you could tell she was hot. I mean, she was nose down, tail down, looking around, every buck, there was two bucks that were chasing her. Their third buck showed up, but he was too young. He just wanted to stay out of the fray. But this guy and the other, and the nice one, were definitely chasing after her. Well, it's December 28th, and the 2019 hunting season is quickly coming to an end. It's been a tough season. We haven't actually seen a lot of deer. Actually, the most deer I've seen all season long at one time was this morning. I saw 3 does, one of them obviously hot, and a couple of bucks chasing after her, and two bucks came in and hung around for a few seconds and gave me a shot. This was the lesser of the two. The other one unfortunately got away, but he'll be around next year. Here's a great deer to fill the freezer. I'm real happy with what I've got here. He's going to make great sausage, great ground. He's going to be good to eat. Certainly not going on the wall. He's not that kind of trophy, but he's a trophy to me because, like I said, we get to fill the freezer with some venison this year. Well, I'm shooting with a new bow this year, and I just realized this is my first shots, first kills. I have not shot this thing at an animal until this morning. So the bow is Matthew's Verdicts, and I've also changed a little bit in the way of arrows and broadheads. So the arrows I'm shooting now, Black Eagle Carnivores, and these are 300 spine Black Eagle Carnivores, and that's last year's broadhead. That's the Grizz trick, and this year I'm shooting the Slick Trick Wicked trick, and this one has a little bit of damage after going through and hitting some rocks. It hit some rocks pretty good, but yeah, that one's not going to survive, but it definitely killed an animal, that's for sure.
Well, there's my video. I hope you enjoyed it. I want to thank you for watching and also encourage you to go take a look at my other videos. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. More great videos coming soon.